and welcome to CityBeat inside Palo Alto. I'm PA Moore. Springtime means, well, a lot of different things to people, but in Palo Alto it means it's the start of the budget season. We're going to learn from city officials about the city's deficit and about long-range financial planning. But on the fun side, we're going to learn what it's like to be a volunteer for the city at the animal shelter and the water treatment plant. Do stay with us. The Water Quality Control Plant does lots of good things. I'm with Margaret Atkins to talk about some of those. Margaret, I understand that you organize volunteers, so what do they do?
We have volunteers that stencil the storm drains for us to protect the creeks in the bay, and we have all kinds of volunteers from Girl Scouts to children in the schools, all local neighborhoods, and they contact me and they want to help protect the environment. And what they can do, one of the community services that we have is stenciling the storm drains. And this helps to keep people aware of what can go down the storm drain, which is absolutely nothing but rainwater. And also it helps keep the neighborhoods involved and aware of what's happening in their neighborhoods for the children and stuff.
So this is a way of having pride in your neighborhood and doing something good.
Right.
So what do you look for in a volunteer? Do they have to be a certain age or what? Tell us about that.
They vary as long as they're responsible and they can have guidance. We can have from second, third grade on up, and we also have Boy Scouts and Eagle Scouts, and we have all different varying ages.
Okay. And then would you show us the process? So the stencil says, what does the stencil say, and how did that all get started?
Well, the stencils used to be generic, just flows to bay, because all of the storm drains went to the bay eventually after they went through the creeks. But we decided here in Palo Alto we have them for specific creeks. And it kind of brings home the feeling so that the kids can really identify, oh, I know that creek, that I know where that is. And so we actually have stencils that have the creeks on them so that they can identify with those.
Okay.
And so.
All right, well, let's see the process. So the first thing we're going to do is step over here. And so, Margaret, why don't you show us first what all this stuff is?
Okay. Well, what we have here is when I get volunteers to come in, we organize them in groups and we give them maps of different areas that they want to go and stencil what they would like. And they have the different catch basins on there, which I highlight, and then they can go around walking around and doing the different ones.
Okay, so I have a map. I know where I'm going.
And we give you all the equipment, everything you need.
So explain this equipment that we see here.
So of course you wear your safety vest.
Oh,
so
let's take a look
you.
at that, because that's reflective, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So everybody will get one of those?
Yes, everybody will have one.
Good.
Then you have your gloves because you want to protect yourself. You want to wear old clothing just in case the paint.
And also sometimes it's muddy out there and
we try to
dirty.
do it in the nice weather because it needs to be dry.
Oh, of course.
And you don't want the rain to smear, and you want it to dry quicker.
Okay.
So you come, and here's one of the catch basins.
Okay.
And you would get the brush, and they'll usually have the background white stenciling. And you kind of just want to make it really clean so that the paint can stick to it.
Okay.
And you want to get it a flat surface as much as you can.
Okay.
Get all the dirt and debris.
Excellent. Okay.
Okay.
We have our safety vest, we have our gloves, and we've cleaned off. Now what?
Now you actually have the stencil right here. And this one just happens to say no dumping flows to San Francisco Creek.
Excellent.
Okay. You lay that down on the white background, and you usually have a few volunteers, and if you don't have any help, you can somehow get this flat.
Okay. Okay, is it straight, she says. Oh.
Pretty close. We'll have little aids here, so.
Okay. Oh, I see. Yeah. And the Water Quality Control Plant provides all this material, right?
Yes, everything is given to you, everything that you need to come out here and do this.
Okay, so
Let's see.
scouts or students provide the labor. Whoa, I should stand downwind here, otherwise I'll have blue shoes.
Okay, and then all you have to do is you sweep back and forth. About 4 to 6 inches away. And nobody's perfect the first time. You just keep trying. And there you go. Voila. What you do next is just pick up straight as you can. And of course, there you go.
Voila!
That's some of the mosquito free. That's it. And
So-
then you go on to the next storm drain.
So, am I right that preparation took longer than the actual painting?
Probably, yes. But the painting's the best part, the fun part that the kids really enjoy.
And Margaret, how would people or parents or scout leaders get more information about this program? Because it's fabulous. I mean, you get pride in your neighborhood. You're doing a good deed for the environment. What did they do? How did they reach you?
They can contact us at the Water Quality Control Plant. They can give me a call at 650-329-2598. Ask for Margaret. Or they can talk to their teachers in the school, because we have actually outreach where we go to the different schools.
Great.
And we are looking for people to do this for us.
Wow, that is so good. Thanks, Margaret.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Chris Costa is from Santa Clara County's Vector Control, and we're going to be talking about pests that you should be aware of. Chris, let's talk about those common everyday pests, not the flying kind, but the other kind. What are the most usual kind that residents should be aware of?
I think most residents are going to run across at least once in their life either rats, raccoons, possums, and skunks. Those are the most common, and they're the ones that really surprise people, besides the rats. But the others, because they don't think they live in these areas, and they do very readily with us.
Okay. Is there any kind of seasonality to those critters, and what should I look for, at different times of the year?
Well, there was a time when we could say, yes, there was a season, and normally, just like now is a beautiful time, spring is in the air, so is love. So this is normally their mating and their birthing time. But because our weather has been so pleasant and so easy to live with, some of these animals actually have had 2 times in the year when they will give birth.
So we have even more critters. So then, as a resident, what would I do to protect my property or to make it critter proof?
One thing people need to realize is animals are looking for 3 things: food, water, and a place to live.
Okay.
Now, water is a hard one to deal with because they can live on sprinkler residue. But really, we're going to be looking at where can they live and what kind of food are they looking for. Everything we have is something that can probably be a very good food and attractant to them. So we want to eliminate them because prevention is the key. We need to prevent them. If we can't prevent them, then we can look at control methods, but prevention is the key.
So I'm a resident, I've got garbage cans, I've got water. What are some really simple things that I can do?
Very simple. Number 1, garbage cans. Be sure the lids are locked down. Raccoons have great little nimble little hands.
Yeah.
So you want to be sure they're locked down, chained down. Be sure that you don't have overflowing garbage. Don't feed your pets outside. And if you have to feed them outside, feed them just enough that they can finish it in one feeding. People tend to think dogs and cats are deterrents to raccoons and possums and skunks, and they aren't. They can learn to get along real well. In fact, there was a time we had rats living under a doghouse eating the dog food that he left behind, so they're not a good deterrent. And be sure that all the entrances to under your house and in the attic and any of your outbuildings are sealed tightly because they're going to need a place to live. And if you eliminate these things, they're going to move on and live in their normal habitat.
I think I've been guilty of several of those things. Now, so prevention is the key. Is there any particular disease that's associated with any of these critters that I should know about?
Well, the most common, especially with these skunks, is rabies. We haven't had any rabid skunks in this area for a while, but we do have some rabid bats, and from rabid bats to skunks. So we want people to realize rabies is still a threat. Also, with the raccoons, you have the threat of raccoon roundworm. It's very rare, but it can happen. And when we did a test a couple of years ago, 90% of our raccoons were infected with raccoon roundworm. And then there's just the overall threat. It is a wild animal, and they can do damage to humans and to pets, and they will. Raccoons are notorious for killing dogs and cats. Skunks, okay, they have their own reputation. They can leave you with something that'll last, the gift that keeps on giving. That's what skunks do. So people need to realize they are wild animals and treat them as such. They aren't meant to be domestic pets. Don't try and pet and feed and encourage them. Discourage them from living in your yard, because once we help them lose their fear of humans, they've lost their natural defense, something that protects both of us. So we need to keep reminding them they are wild animals. Shoo them out of your yard, scare them. Don't feel guilty. You're actually helping them.
Wow, what a fund of information here. And how would, if a resident had specific questions, how do they get more information?
They can get a hold of us through the phone number and the address that is listed on your screen.
Thank you so much, Chris.
Thank you, PA.
I'm with Frank Bennis, City Manager for the City of Palo Alto, and we're here to talk about Palo Alto's unfortunate financial crisis. Frank, tell me, how did we get into this financial crisis? There must have been some macroeconomic forces involved.
Well, there are basically three reasons. First of all, let me say that all local governments are faced with this continuing financial challenge. Specifically, in terms of Palo Alto, there are three basic reasons we have a structural deficit in our ongoing operating budget at this point. First of all, our budget is based on transactions in the local economy. So there's been a major recession, obviously, an ongoing recession since 2000, 2001, and we have lost about $10 million in ongoing revenue, in sales tax, hotel, motel, bed taxes, other kinds of revenue. So we have lost about $10 million since every year in revenue. And our revenues are now back to the level that we had in 1998. The second reason, in addition to the recession, is that the state, to solve its budget problems, is shifting revenue. That's a nice way of saying they're ripping off revenue. They are shifting revenues away from local government. And for instance, in 2004, 2005, this fiscal year, we've lost about $1.5 million. In 2005, 2006, we'll lose another $1.5 million. Since 1992-93, the first recession in the early 90s, the city of Palo Alto has lost about $36 million in money that the state has shifted away from our service programs here in Palo Alto and our infrastructure here in Palo Alto. And the third reason is that we have escalating benefit costs. Our salaries are basically market-based. The problem is really not the salaries. Our salaries are the same percentage of our budget as they have been in past years. The big problem is a tremendous growth in the cost of benefits. We are all city governments, most county governments, most local governments, are part of the California Public Employees Retirement System called CalPERS. And they set these benefit rates, particularly for our pension, retirement pensions, and also for health care. So in the last 4 years, those costs have increased by about 50%. So because of the recession, because of state takeaways to solve the state budget problem, and because of escalating benefit costs, we now have a structural deficit. In this current year, we have a shortfall of about $1.5 million, which we'll solve by the end of this fiscal year, which concludes June 30th. Next year, it's about a $5.2 million deficit that we confront.
Now, I know that the city has worked hard to keep the costs in check, so you've done a lot. Can you outline for our viewers what the city has done already to help offset deficits?
I believe we've done a very good job. The city council and our city staff has done a very good job over these past 4 years in terms of budget cutting, maintaining balanced budgets, and still maintaining services, maintaining our reserves, our rainy day funds, maintaining our capital spending, our spending on infrastructure, and maintaining our investment in local schools. We invest about $6 million a year in funding for the Palo Alto Unified School District. So I believe, have done a pretty good job. We have utilized a variety of strategies. Let me just sort of tick off a few of the strategies that we've used in terms of balancing our budgets and maintaining services and our other commitments. First of all, we've basically cut about $10 million in costs over the past few years. We've eliminated 40 positions and restructured around those positions, around vacancies and retirements. We've imposed a hiring freeze. We've instituted, with the cooperation of our labor unions, an unpaid furlough. These are unpaid days off. We've negotiated with our labor unions a two-tier retiree medical program so that new employees get a much less costly retiree medical program that takes them 20 years to vest or earn. We have become much more entrepreneurial. We sell services to other communities and make money that subsidizes our Palo Alto services. For instance, we sell information technology services to about 7 other cities. We sell animal control services. We sell employee training services to other communities. We've streamlined a lot of our processes, like our development review process. We've computerized a number of functions. We've extended the life of our vehicles. We've extended the life of our equipment. And so we've done a variety of things, again, to cut our budget, because by law we have to have a balanced budget, and to maintain services, reserves, and capital spending. Our Palo Alto citizenry is a very involved, very engaged community, so we have developed a very open budget process. And first of all, we need to provide information to people. And for instance, in early February, all residents and all business people received the latest edition of our City Pages newsletter, which was focused on the budget to provide some basic information. In addition to that, we have distilled our 2 volumes of budget into a document called our Budget Primer. And that'll be available in early March. It'll be on our website or by contacting the Administrative Services Department. So somebody interested in helping us deal with this budget crisis in 8 pages can get the gist of the challenge and how our budget is made up. For those people that really want to get involved, we have organized 2 Budget 101 classes. One is going to be held March 19th and the other one March 24. And so people will get a good grounding in the budget so they can get further involved in our budget process. The mayor and I are going to be on a cable TV show, call-in show in March. So people will be presenting some of these challenges, talking about how we're addressing those challenges, and then people will have a chance to call in and provide their perspectives. We also are going to be holding a number of mayor and city manager coffees out in the community in the downtown area, in Midtown, and also in South Palo Alto. So people will have an informal opportunity to stop by and talk to us about what's important to them and perhaps some things that are of lesser importance to them. And then finally, we're going to have a website, a web page on our city website for citizen budget ideas. And you can email your ideas to the address that you can see on the screen right now. And that'll be an opportunity for people to directly communicate with me, because under the charter I have the responsibility of developing the proposed budget. Finally, there will be a number of hearings in May with the City Council Finance Committee. And the City Council Finance Committee has the duty to review the budget, the total budget for the city, and then make recommendations to the full City Council. And so there'll be a number of public hearings in May with the Council Finance Committee. So we want to encourage everybody to get involved in this issue, because you can't talk about services without talking about budget. We thank everybody for their ideas and their support.
Betty Ann Stenmark is volunteer coordinator here at the Palo Alto Animal Shelter. Betty Ann, tell me, what does a volunteer coordinator do?
Well, I hire people, volunteers from the community who want to come to the animal shelter and work with the animals and help us out in the office. And it's a wonderful job because I get to work with great people, and I also get to work with dogs and cats and rabbits and guinea pigs and domestic rats, and you name it, we've got it.
And tell me, what then would a volunteer do, and what are the requirements to be a volunteer?
We have roughly 3 different categories of volunteers. The one where we have the most pressing need always is in the office, which is a job where you're the first line of defense. As people come through the door, you meet and greet them, tell them a little bit about us, where they can find the various animals they're interested in having a look at, make spay and neuter appointments, help owners get their dogs or cats or rabbits or guinea pigs out of the spay neuter clinic. There's actually a fair bit of animal contact, and it does take some skills and some general knowledge to be able to fulfill that job. And that's where we have our greatest need. Probably the area where we have the most volunteers is with the dogs.
Yes.
Everybody wants to come and walk a dog. And unfortunately, it takes more than just a love of animals to be a dog volunteer. You have to have had some experience with dogs and not be afraid of pit bulls or Rottweilers or Rottweiler mixes, big unruly animals. Those are mostly the kind we have at animal shelters today. And one of the key jobs is to help that dog become a better canine citizen and become more appealing to the general public and become a dog that is desired. Unfortunately, some of the pit bulls and the Rottweilers can sit here for 6 months before the right person comes looking for them. And in that interim, it's the volunteers who keep that dog's head together so that they can be here and have a home with us and feel loved and keep their head together, so when the right person comes along, they're ready to go to their new home. So obedience training and doing the right things with dogs is really, really important. We take them to the exercise yard. We bring them into the office. We sit on the floor and cuddle them. And we do take them for a couple of walks a day, but it's not just a job for somebody who's looking for exercise for themselves and to have a dog along for the ride. It's more for the dogs than it is for the people. But there's a lot of rewards for it. And then our third category, which is also highly desired, is cat volunteers. And the cats need socializing, and when they first come up for adoption, they need to find out that being in that adoption room is fun, and they get to have lots of attention, and the volunteer is really important in developing their skills, their marketing skills on getting themselves out of the cages and into somebody's home. The volunteer is also instrumental in matching potential adopters who are schmoozing through the cat room looking for the right cat, hook that person up with the cat that will best fit their family situation. For instance, there's often a daughter will come in, an adult daughter looking for a lap cat for an elderly mother who may have been recently widowed. And finding the right cat who's young enough to be active but old enough to be comfortable on the lap and be an affectionate pet, that makes a good match. And the volunteers are really instrumental in hooking the right cat up with the right family. And then we also have another category, which is the small animal volunteering. And that's mainly with rabbits, but we do have a fair number of guinea pigs in, and they require handling. And some people are just really good at those small animals. And I often have usually teenagers who've had a rabbit at home that want to come and play with our rabbits. And amazingly, we have lots of rabbits come in and we have lots of rabbits go out. There are lots of people that look for them for a pet.
And do you have any current openings for volunteers that you'd like to mention to our viewers, and then could you tell us how a person would get more
Sure.
information?
Of course. I have quite a number of openings in the office.
Sure.
And those are generally 3-hour shifts, morning and afternoon.
Okay.
And I ask for a 6-month commitment because we put a lot of energy into training the volunteer. And we like to have them stay, and of course,
Sure.
longer is much better.
Yeah.
But we want somebody to feel that it's a real commitment on their part. We're serious about this, and we want our volunteers to be serious. We also have a couple of dog openings, just actually came open today. And I do have a couple of cat openings as well, which I have a very short waiting list, and those people will get the first call. If someone is interested in volunteering at Palo Alto Animal Services, the best way is to call my direct line, which is area code 650-496-5989. And because I'm one of the coveted half-time employees of the City of Palo Alto, it may be a week or more before I get back to you, as I do travel in my other life, and I'm in approximately 20 hours each week.
Okay. Well, thanks, Betty Ann. I'm sure you will get some calls.
I hope so. Thank you.
Now available for adoption at Palo Alto Animal Services. Natasha is a 6-year-old spayed female Rottweiler. We're surprised somebody left Natasha here at the shelter because she is the sweetest dog you could ever hope to meet. Her breed has an undeserved reputation, yet if you give Natasha a moment of your time, you can't help but fall head over paws in love. Reno and Tahoe are 1-year-old spayed female Rex bunnies who are happy, healthy, and fully grown. They're easy to handle and are great with rabbit-savvy children. Sabrina is a 1-year-old spayed female tabby who is very bashful about being on camera. Well, maybe not. She's full of energy, non-stop playful, and will love you to death. Mrs. Lulu is a 1-year-old spayed female calico who is in the process of learning to play gently and not use her mouth or claws. She needs a cat-savvy new owner who can work with her. Big Beaker is a 4-year-old neutered male cat who sadly has been waiting for a new home since October 2004. He's a gentle giant who's easygoing, well-mannered, and loves people from all age groups. You can see all these animals and many more at Palo Alto Animal Services, 1381 East Bayshore Road in Palo Alto. Give us a call at 496-5971.
Family Resources is your link to recycling. Paths for biking, trails for hiking, childcare, street repair, volleyball, city hall, dog runs for dog walkers, support groups for need-to-talkers. Softball leagues, soccer leagues, swimming pools, all sorts of schools. The Palo Alto Arts Center, assistance for the housing renter, recreation, information, public access cable station, ice skaters, mediators, senior care, food for you, children's theater, the petting zoo, volunteer opportunities in your community, hotlines, warm lines, bus lines, parks, libraries, May, fate, healthcare, and the arts, neighborhood and civic groups, tennis courts, basketball hoops, services for the disabled, where to find a picnic table. Multicultural and ethnic festivities, foreign language, accessibility, the Junior Museum, the people next door, emergency services, all this and much, much more. It's all here right on our website. You can rock the house when you click that mouse. Be a paragon. Come on and log on now.
Thanks for watching CityBeat Inside Palo Alto. I'm PA Moore. And remember, if you have questions or comments about the show, be sure to send them to the email address listed at the end of the credits. See you next time.